Chapter 2. Before the Gold Rush. In the 1540s, the first Europeans in California were Spanish explorers. They were searching for a city of gold and for a river that was said to stretch from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific. Their searches were unsuccessful because neither the city nor the river actually existed. By 1775, Spain controlled a great deal of land in North America that included Mexico and present-day Texas and California. Early Spanish explorers mistakenly believed that California was a gigantic island. Lands of the West. By 1821, Mexico no longer controlled by Spain, and it took over the rest of Spain's territories, west of the Mississippi River. This made California part of Mexico. The United States was also growing in size during this time. It became increasingly interested in Mexico's new territories. In 1835 and again in 1845, the U.S. government offered to buy California, but Mexico refused to sell the land. This map of the United States in 1830 shows the territory controlled by Mexico. Before the gold rush, most Californios lived on huge cattle ranches. California Calling. In the 1830s, small numbers of people began moving from other parts of the United States to California. Most were traders, fur trappers, or hunters and adventurers. By the mid-1840s, California was home to about 1,000 Americans, several thousand Californios, Spanish-speaking settlers from Mexico, and more than 100,000 Native Americans. Pioneers, who were traveling west, loaded their wagons with supplies at towns along the Missouri River. Trouble for Mexico. By 1845, Mexico was losing much of the land it had controlled. Thousands of Americans, known as pioneers, were traveling west by wagon in search of better lives in California and the Pacific Northwest. Many of these pioneers believed that the United States had a right to expand its territories as far west as the Pacific Ocean. Over time, Americans living in Texas and California began pushing for freedom from Mexican rule. California Victory. In 1835, Americans in Texas revolted against Mexico. 10 years later, Texas became America's 28th state. When a war broke out between the United States and Mexico in 1846, Americans in California also revolted. The war ended on February 2, 1848, with an American victory. Mexico gave the United States control of half its territories, including California. America's victory increased the size of the United States by about 525,000 square miles, more than 1 million square kilometers.